Hello, my name is Lizzie. I'm Anglican. I will soon be joining a community of religious sisters. And in this video, I talk a bit about how the different forms of media, so YouTube videos about religious life in general, and religious communities having their own Facebook pages and websites, all along with this book here, which comes out every year. This is the one from a few years ago. How all of those played different but really important parts in my own discernment journey. I will hold your people in my heart. So I've just mentioned YouTube and websites and Facebook and this book. And all those things have played important roles in my own discernment. But it's particularly YouTube videos that I've found the most useful. I don't know if that's just because of my age and the fact that our age group are used to seeing things in video format. But the reason that I found the YouTube videos so useful is that you can see things in a more 3D, as it were, dimension than you can by reading about the community or about their life. So on a YouTube video, you can listen to a sister describe her own vocation journey or describe what she loves about being a religious sister. You can see them going about their daily lives. So this all gives a dimension that you can't get from reading text. So I personally owe a lot, whoever made the various YouTube videos I've watched, I'm so grateful to them, because that's been one of the main things that's helped me get to the point of exploring religious life myself. And really, most of the videos I've watched on YouTube happen to be Roman Catholic and happen to be American for whatever reason. That's just what there seems to be the most of on YouTube at the moment. But God seems to have been, I don't know, I just found myself watching so many YouTube videos about nuns and sisters over the years, and I suspect that was because God had put something in me that was making me want to naturally watch them. And so the fact that I found myself watching all these videos on YouTube eventually made me start to think, am I watching so many because it's what I'm called to? I hope that makes some kind of sense. So that's YouTube. The internet in general is obviously helpful. When I came to Leicester, I wanted to get to know a local religious community just so that I could visit them, have retreat time there, and maybe get to know the sisters. But because I've always been interested, or for quite a few years I've been interested in just getting to know sisters, because I seem to have some kind of natural affinity with religious sisters, or a deep interest in them. So for the purposes of that kind of exploring, I simply Googled the county I lived in, or the diocese I lived in, and then Anglican and convent or religious community. And that's how I found out about the Anglican Benedictine community, who are in the neighbouring town from me, that I spend, I usually go there one day a month now. I've spent days with them before as well as a visitor in their guest house. So just Googling geographical area and my denomination has been useful in finding just who's nearby. And that's also how I discovered the Franciscans that live nearby as well, just by Googling Anglican and my town, I think, and convent or community or something like that. And then, so I was given, a few years ago, I was praying in one of the churches that I'm often in the city centre, and one of the priests who knows me quite well, just one day, without me ever mentioning the fact that I seem to have been interested in nuns and sisters for years, he just out of the blue put this on my lap and encouraged me to read it. So he obviously sensed that it might be what I was called to as well. And I did actually read this pretty much cover to cover. It basically, I think it is a comprehensive list of all the Anglican communities and orders in the world. So there are about, I think I'm looking it upside down, I think there are about 3 pages, I don't know how well it will show up, of Anglican communities and orders, and a lot of them are in the UK and a lot of them are also in other countries, but it lists them all. And so I did actually read this cover to cover at one point, and it was very interesting, but nothing stood out enough for me to go and visit them, or there was nothing at that stage where I felt God's definitely calling me to religious life. But it just, reading this was something I went through a few years ago. I'll have to explain my actual sort of vocation story, or how I've got to this point of actually moving in as a postulant soon. But I'm just trying to do an outline of what media I've found useful. And then, so the community I'm going to be moving in with in the summer is listed in this book. But like I said, for whatever reason, at that time when I read this book a few years ago, I didn't get this sense of God calling me there. But then a few months ago, when I was praying again about where did God want me, and someone mentioned the name of the particular community I'm going to be going to, or trying out with them, I looked at their website, and it was in looking at their website and their Facebook page that suddenly I felt they're the right community for me, or that's the right order for me. And so there was something, it might have been to do with the stage in my life as well, this happening a few years later than me reading the book, but it was at that moment when I saw their Facebook page and their website, I felt this attraction that I hadn't simply in reading the page or so information in here. I don't know why that is. That might not always, I'm not saying that one's better than the other, but that's how it worked for me. So I expect most of the communities and orders listed in this book these days have a website and possibly a Facebook page too. So I would definitely, if you are looking at this book, suggest also looking for their website and Facebook page to see if they have one. Obviously there's no replacement for meeting them in person, which is always obviously the best way of getting to know people and what they're about. I think that covers most things I was trying to say. Just the main thing I'm trying to say is that, as especially talking as someone my age, I'm in my early 30s, I've found the visual nature of Facebook, the photos especially they get put up on Facebook of what the sisters get up to. You see something different. In here you see a formal summary. On Facebook especially, you get to see the day-to-day just events that they've had in the year and things they've been to and things that have gone off, that have been held at their convent recently. You get to see that mentioned on Facebook, so you see a different side of their life than you would get from reading a summary here. And yeah, whoever made YouTube videos, or all the YouTube videos I've watched, are either in interview format or outlining different communities by videoing the sisters in action. That I've found so useful. So my what am I saying? That if you're interested in religious life, watching YouTube videos might be really helpful for a start. And personally, I would encourage people to try and make more videos about their community or their order, because I just think that people my kind of age find video format especially useful. I know, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I definitely have, and I suspect that's the same for my kind of age group.